Hi guys, welcome back, another episode, and today I'm going to run through my thoughts about the motorcycle licence and the process to getting a licence here in the UK for motorcycle riding. I did mine quite late on in my 20s, but I'll also just recap what you can do in the UK and at what stages you can do it before I run on into what my thoughts were about my test and how it all went. So here in the UK, it's possible to get a motorcycle when you're 16, or what's classed as a moped, so 50cc and under, as long as you have a CBT and a provisional license. The CBT is an 8-hour training course. They say it's not a pass or fail, but it is, because they can say to you that you're not having a certificate, at which point you're not certificated to ride, which in theory is just a fail. The only difference is there's no time delay on when you can retake the CBT training day. You can go back the next day and try again. The CBT is mainly a pass though. It's a day showing you basics of how to use a motorcycle. That's the morning, pushing them around, starting, stopping, braking, going, slow maneuvers, slow cornering, which then progresses into the afternoon, more high speed around the car park, emergency stop, some more faster cornering, some cornering techniques given, U-turns and things of that nature. Basically gearing you up for the last stage, which is roughly an hour, hour and a half on the road. They'll take you out, you'll have an earpiece, you go about the roads, and after that, if they feel like you've been good enough, you've done all the manoeuvres they asked you to out on the road safely, which normally pull over, U-turn, go around a corner, that sort of thing, overtaking each other safely. And as long as they think you're good, then you'll get your certification, which like I say is in theory a pass. And then that's what you could do when you're 16 to get yourself a moped. You can also do the same test when you're 17, and that'll get you a 125. I would say it's probably worth missing the 50cc, forgetting about it when you're 16. Wait until you're about 17 and a half. Once you're 17 and a half, you can get a 125 CBT, ride that. You can do an A1 if you want to keep your 125 license forever, as the CBT only lasts you 2 years, which leads into my next bit, which is where if you do it when you're 17 and a half, 2 years later you'll be 19 and a half. At the age of 19, you can do what's called an A2. If you do your A2, you can then ride, not unrestricted, but you can ride up to a 600 on an A2 license. But what it helps you out with as well, and you could keep your 125 while on the A2 with no L plates, is you can use your A2 to take your A license. The A license is the big bike, unrestricted, no restrictions applied, no L plates, complete bike license. With an A2, you could do it a lot sooner. You can do your full bike license at the age of 21, as long as you have an A2. If you don't have an A2, you will have to wait until you're 24 here in the UK. When you're 24, that's when you can take your A license, or what they call DAS, D-A-S, direct access, which is what I did. I did a DAS. I did a direct access course, which consisted of CBT, my theory test, and we'll run through the theory test in a minute. I did the theory test, I then did my mod 1, I'll run through the mod 1 as well, And then I went on to do my Mod 2, which is the final step. Did my Mod 2, passed, sold my 125 training bike, my Derby Sender 125. Good little motocross style trials bike. And then moved on to what I'm on here today, the Suzuki GSX650F. The big old Tourer. But yeah, so back to my CVT. I did the day's training, had good fun. I loved it. I love my CVT. If anything, it's just worth it for, it costs you a lot of money to do, you know, like car experience days, and for £100 they're going to give you a bike, put you on a car park, put you out on the road and let you just ride a bike for a day. So for £100 it's worth it just for an experience day. Obviously you'll need a helmet, jacket and appropriate shoes for going on the road, provisional license of some kind or a full driving license. And then you go there, yeah, you have a fantastic day. They take it to your own ability. So I had been riding before I did my CVT. Like I said, I did my CVT quite late. I did mine when I was 28, a couple of years ago, whereas my brother did it when he was 16, so he could jump straight on the 50. Obviously he stuck a big bore kit on it, and then jumped onto 125 once he was old enough. But then he sort of dived away from there and went into a car and never went back. But he's thinking about it, sees me on my bike, and he's thinking about doing the same thing in the future. But yeah, so we took different paths. I went for the car, he went for the bike. But like I say, overall I enjoyed the CBT. It was so good fun. Once I'd done the CVT, got that done out of the way, I then got my 125. I rode that for about 4 months. Rode my 125 to work and back around the local town, had a bit of fun on it. It was a good fun bike. And then from there I booked my Mod 1. Oh, not my Mod 1, I did my theory test. So while I was riding for 4 months doing my on my 125, learning the roads and stuff, I then did my theory test. The theory test consists of 2 parts. First part being a questionnaire. The questionnaire part is quite good, sort of multiple choice. If you use your head, then you know what the answers are. Especially if you're a car driver, you should know what the answers are. It's fairly easy. But if not, just study the theory test book. Take a month out, study the book, and then give it a go. It's a fairly cheap exam. You could do it again if you fail. But overall, good experience for me. And then from there, after I passed my theory test, I then went on to do my Mod 1. I did my Mod 1 in Oxford. It was next to my work, so I did it at the Oxford Kassam Stadium, as I worked at the Oxford Science Park, so it was easy enough to get there. The Mod 1 consists of manoeuvres and emergency procedures, really. So you first off drive into like you were a garage or a car parking space, and then they'll ask you to walk your bike to another space or into like another garage. So they're saying that you can walk with your bike, you can maneuver it, you can easily handle the bike when you're off it. They're also looking that you get off your bike correctly in the safe way, that you don't just leave it running and things of that nature, you actually turn it off. After that, you then go through the slalom. They're checking here that you can hold the bike, you know, through the bends, through slow manoeuvres, or not bends but slow manoeuvres. You get in and out of that, you do a figure of 8 at the end a couple of times, and then they'll call you over and you stop in a box. Next bit is what you're in a car class as a 3-point turn, but in motorbike terms it's a U-turn. One continual turn, you cannot stop, you cannot put your foot down, otherwise it is a complete fail. I enjoyed that. I like the little slow manoeuvre part. It, you know, tests your skill, tests your weight distribution, tests your throttle control, how good you are on your accelerator, and how you control the bike. But that went well, we did that. We then moved on to, oh, someone's having a fire here. We then went on to what's classed as the high speed bit, so they're checking how fast you go around the bend, and then you do the emergency stop. So I came out, you go around the bend. My instructor said, you know, keep it screaming in second gear, and you know you're going fast enough, because they have a speed gun. They're reading how fast you go, and you have to meet a certain speed, otherwise you have to do it again, and you only get 2 tries to get the speed correct. I did mine on first time round, didn't have to do the second time round. And then it comes down to the last one, the swerve test. This is a car pulling out of Utah Junction, so in theory it's something you need to get correct, as you don't want to be getting it wrong. You want to, if a car pulls out on you, you want to know how to do this one. You want to know how to pull out of a car's way. So another one I sort of enjoyed. You have to get up to a certain speed, and then you go around the cones, and then you have to pull up in another square spot, both wheels in it. So on the first time around I was going too slow, I was too apprehensive, and then on the second time my foot clipped one of the cones. If your foot clips any of the cones on any part of the course, it's an automatic fail. There's no going back on it. So on the last final bit I failed on that clipping the cone. But I rebooked it a couple of weeks later, went back, did it again, and I passed. I got everything done, and I got everything done first time. I didn't need to repeat anything in terms of speed. So that was all good. I got my mod 1 done, out the way. Finally ready for my mod 2. Booked that. I did that in Banbury because I'd done my car test in Banbury, so I thought, you know, do the same. I know the roads, I know the layout, I know the test centre. We'll do it in Banbury. I went there. The guy was friendly enough. I hear a lot of bad stories about, you know, test guys, as it were, that they're a bit moody, they have to be like that because they have to be impartial and things of that nature. But this guy was nice. He was a pleasant chap. We went out, did my manoeuvres, you know, pull over, go again, pull over, go again, go through a housing estate at slow speed, manoeuvre in and out of cars, did the U-turn as well while out. The U-turn when you're out on the road is a lot smaller. The curb to curb is a lot smaller than when they do it on the practice area, I'll tell you that now. But got back to test centre, I was bricking it, I was thinking what's going to happen now. Then the guy doesn't tell you when you first get back, you have to go indoors. Went into the office and he told me I had passed, and I was over the moon. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy to pass first time on my practical. I'd passed first time on my practical with my car test as well, so it's good to keep a running streak, as it were. Yeah, and I was over the moon. That was a good sort of a good run. And then I moved on and I sold off my 125, as I only needed it for training. Never really rid it around too much, just for going to work and back and practicing. And got the bike I'm on now, that Suzuki GSX650F. But like I say, overall I was really happy. I enjoyed the process of the DAS. I think everything that they make you do is relevant to riding a bike in a safe manner. I believe in what they're trying to do, and I don't have any negatives to say about it really. A lot of people do, but I think it's challenging, but challenging in a good way. They're challenging you to skills that you need to have to ride on the road. The road is forever changing. It's never the same. It's not like a test to where you're on the car park. There's always things coming out here or there. I've been quite lucky. I've never had anything really happen to me when I've been on the bike. I've had a few where you've understeered, you're pushing it a bit too harder than you should be, and that's why I just keep it to my ability really. I push it in the car. I feel I have more ability in the car than I do on the bike, and you feel a lot safer in the car. But for me, riding is more about enjoyment than anything else. It's not for going to work and back, and it's not for commuting and things, not for getting the shopping. It's just for having a bit of fun. And 2 years later I'm doing this. You lot are watching me now. I'm going out and about, and I'm just bringing along you guys with me, the community at large. And fingers crossed more you will click that subscribe button, click the likes and comment below. I'd like to hear from you, hear what your thoughts are. How did your bike test go? How was the test instructor? How was he? Was he an arse to you like I've seen in other videos, or was he like mine? He was a good guy. He wanted to, in both my mod 1 and my mod 2, they were both good guys, ex-police, that wanted to get people out on the road in a safe manner. They wanted to help people, and that's what it's all about. So yeah, comment below and let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you rid first off as well. Let me know what you were riding, and then we can all learn from each other. And this, in terms of me, when I say about my brother at 16 had his CBT, had his 50, so I went for that trial style bike, but my brother, he went the other way. He went for the bike like what I'm on today, the sports style bike. He had a foreign bike to start off with, a Japanese sports bike that no one's really ever heard of, and then went to, well, after his 50, he then went to an Aprilia RS 125, and he had a couple of those, and they were quick bikes, the Aprilias. They do break down a lot, you have to replace a lot of parts on the Aprilias, but they are good fun. But that's what you're buying into with the Aprilia RS 125. You are buying into that workmanship, you know, you have to change parts, gearbox is gone, etc., because it's a 2-stroke and you're ripping those parts to shreds as you're going. But yeah, there's different avenues, and I knew people that had choppers as 125s, you know, chopper style bike. They look good as well, good fun, good to ride on. And then there's the mopeds. I've ridden a 125 moped. Twist and go is very fast, very thrilling. Those twist and goes, they shoot off. It's one continuous gear, and they go some, they do. They are good fun. The 50cc ones aren't too bad if you're ripping it around a field, but they're not very good on the road. And that's what I was saying, right, at 16, skip that 50. You're going to spend money on a 50cc bike. You know, you're only going to have it maybe 9 months, and then as soon as you're 17, you can be like, right, I want another bike, and you're then selling it and you're looking for your next one. Just skip it, don't go with it. It's slow, not that great for getting around cars, you know, overtaking and things. They're dangerous, I think, the 50cc's. Meant to be a maximum of 28 miles an hour. Like I say, you can do big ball kits. I'm not an advocate of that, down to your own discretion. But it is possible, and then you can get them up to the speeds of 60 mile an hour, but UK law, 28 mile an hour max on a 50cc. And once we're about to cue the music, once we've cued the music, once we get back, I'll have found somewhere to stop, and we'll run through the bike in terms of that mod 2 test, what they're going to ask you for, what you need to know. So let's cue the music now and find somewhere to park up. And we're back in the room. Alright guys, so I found somewhere to park up in the end, over here near Aylesbury train station. The views are quite nice, as you can probably see. Very nice views. All new housing development around here, all new office blocks, you know, warehousing, an up and coming area again. And the train lines are only ever getting faster into London. It used to be a very old train line, but some real money going into it nowadays, so that's where I am. And as you can see, here is my bike. Here's the Suzuki GSX650F. And I thought I'd just run through, like I say, about that mod 2, and it includes your theory a little bit as well. But part of that mod 2 to start off is a show me tell me. So part of that show me tell me is show me what's on the bike and tell me what it does. So he might ask you things like, where's the kill switch? So here it is. And you'd say I would flick it like that and it would turn the engine off, and when I'd want to switch the engine back on again, I'd put it back into its normal standard position. Where would you put the key? Put it to there. First turn would put it to on and back for a steering lock, and then into the off position. Or he might say to you, where's the horn? And you would give it a click, and he might ask you to turn it on. He might ask you for the operation, so you'd say I'd turn the key on, and I would push it, and you might show him that. You might actually turn the key and actually show him how it works. That might be what he's asking. And he might ask where the indicators are. You'd say there's the indicators, and I'd go like that, and once I wanted to turn it off, I'd push it back in again. And mine has the hazard lights too. Might ask you about your lights, so you'd say I'd flick that there and then put my hand in front to see that the lights are on or off, high and low beam. For testing, he might ask you where's your brake reservoirs. So for your brake down at the bottom, your back brake, you'd say it's just underneath wherever it is on that bike. You need to speak to your instructor if you're using an instructor's bike and find out where all these things are. For your brake level, your oil level, he might ask you for that. He might ask you how you check your oil. So sometimes the oil filler, where you pull that up, twisted it open, and it'd have a little dipstick inside. Check that, and that's what you'd tell him you'd do. You'd actually show him this is what I'd do. And also you got your brake reservoirs and your clutch reservoirs up on the top here, and you'd show, and you'd tell him it has a minimum marker and a maximum marker. I'm looking at it's in the middle. And then he might ask you about how you check your brakes. You know, you'd stand over your bike, hold the brake in, and check it doesn't bounce very much. But that's how you check that. And then you just give you a rough overview, and then also ask about the lights. So you might say about the back brake, you put your hand over, and then put your foot on the foot brake and your hand on the handbrake. But that's the part of it, that's the first part of it, it's the show me, tell me. So he's going to ask you to show him something and then tell you, then you tell him about it and show him at the same time. But yeah. But that's the bike overall. The GSX650F. And that's what's going to conclude today's video. Like I say, keep plugging at it. If you're thinking of doing your bike test, just have a go. If you fail, just try again. Don't get disheartened and not do it. Go and give it a go. Go and see what it's like. If you fail, just try again. Just keep going at it. Having a bike, it was amazing. Don't give up, guys. Till next time, peace.